Hey everybody, this is Derek from RealFlow. Today we're going to be talking about LeadPipes AI, the fastest way to grow your real estate investing business using artificial intelligence. Let's dive right in. So I want to spend just a minute talking about how we got here. In 2016, RealFlow released LeadPipes Premium. LeadPipes Premium gave our users access to every property in the country. We like to say that every property has a story, and those details are what can help you make an informed decision about your next investment property. We also gave you the ability to stack 18 different lead types on top of each other to create a hyper-focused list for you or your marketing team to build your leads list off of. Now, our next step was taking that data and pairing it with artificial intelligence. We used 40 years worth of big data along with our industry-leading LeadPipes Premium product to develop our AI scores all around a property's propensity to sell in the next 90 days. We like to call them our sellability scores. So far, our algorithm has looked at 136 billion different data points over 40 years of real estate transactional data, as well as a variety of demographic and socioeconomic data sets to develop our sellability scores. So let's go ahead and talk about those scores. We are providing every property in your city, zip code, or county 3 scores, all based around the propensity to sell in the next 90 days. We first have the retail score, which is the propensity for a property to sell in the next 90 days for any reason at all. This could be motivated sellers or traditional listing opportunities. The reason that we call it a retail score is because just like the industry as a whole, the vast majority of properties are going to sell at a retail price. We also have our wholesale score, which is of course our most popular one, which is the propensity for a property to sell at a discounted rate in the next 90 days. Basically, what we do here is we look at all of the data points for our retail score, and we also append additional data sets based on motivation or distressed property flags. And last but not least, we have our rental score. This is the propensity for a property to be purchased by you as the investor and used as a turnkey rental portfolio building asset. One of the things that I always like to say about the rental score is that the majority of people who own good rental opportunities are other investors. So I always like to call this a networking score or our investor score, because you have a high probability of dealing with people that are in the industry like yourself that are looking to make deals. Our goal with LeadPipes AI is simple: to provide you with the fast, simple, and cost-effective way to find high-profit deals. This system is great for new investors because we take all of the guesswork out of looking at thousands and thousands of properties and trying to see what fits your model. We're using 40 years worth of big data and again, billions of data points to tell you exactly where a property falls on our sellability index. This data is also great for established investors who have a team that instead of focusing on combing through listings and property details to build your target list for that month or week, now you're simply providing them with the scores so that they can spend their time reaching out to potential leads and closing more deals. Now, let's go ahead and take a tour and hop into the system. So now that we have a good understanding of the scores and how to differentiate between the 3 of them, I want to dive right in and show you how to filter on those scores for best practices, as well as how quickly you can take that data and execute a targeted marketing campaign. So from the main dash of your RealFlow account, we're going to go over to LeadPipes Premium, which is essentially the data section of the application, and select Property Leads. Now, on this page, I typically like to just put in the city, county, zip, or address that I'm searching for, and then the rest of the filters will apply once we get into the system. So I'm going to use my county here in Ohio, Medina, and I'm going to go ahead and search. We always like to say that while LeadPipes Premium gives you the ability to use a shotgun approach to your marketing, whereas you're sending postcards to every property within a city, zip, neighborhood, or county, LeadPipes AI is really giving you that laser, where we're going to show you a very focused audience that meets the highest criteria with regards to propensity to sell. Now, the first thing that I always like to discuss once we get into the application is these filters along the left-hand side. These are essentially filters that are up to you to implement based on your marketing criteria, your investing criteria. So if you have requirements for minimum beds or bath, nothing under 1,000 square feet, we want to make sure that we put that in there first and foremost, because that's going to fit your model. So again, if you want to only look at properties under $250,000, we want to make sure to put a cap on that so that we're not showing you data that isn't relevant to your business. Now, once we've done that, we can go ahead and take a look at our AI scores. This is going to help us to start laser focusing down. If you look at that shotgun approach, and let's say you wanted to send a mailer to everybody in Medina County, well, we're looking at 65,525 properties. So we have the ability to do that. But again, we want to use big data to identify our very niche audience that has the highest propensity to sell. From the AI dropdown, you're going to have access to all three scores. Above each of the scores, you're going to see a nice little representation of where the properties within that county, city, zip, or neighborhood fall on the scale of 0 to 999. Now, one thing that we always get is a question about, should I put a number in for each of the scores, or should I just focus on one? We're always going to suggest focusing on just one score at a time, because we provide a score for all properties. So there isn't a specific bucket of retail scored properties and a specific bucket of rental scored properties. They're all receiving that score. So at the end of the day, if you want to have the most viable options, we suggest focusing on one at a time. And this first one here is a great example. So 500 is the average number in a property. Anything above a 500 we consider to have a higher than average propensity to sell in the next 90 days. Another way to think about that is 500 is essentially 0, anything above it is a positive, and anything below is more or less a negative. Now, when I say that, people always say, well, then I should just put 500 in for the minimum of all these filters so that I never deal with anything that has a lower than average propensity to sell. Here's the problem that we run into, and this first property gives us a great example of that. Let's say we really wanted to focus on retail scored properties above 500. Well, if we had 500 put in for all three of our scores, this property would not show up. Although, if we were truly only looking for retail, this is a viable lead. But again, it would not meet the threshold for the rental and the wholesale. That's why we suggest using just one score at a time when creating your lists. Now, I'm going to show you a number of ways that you can filter this down and make it a little bit easier. So let's say that we want to focus on wholesale properties that have a higher than average propensity to sell. That's 7,200 properties that we've identified that have not only a higher propensity to sell, but a higher propensity to sell at a discount in the next 90 days. 7,200 leads is still a lot of people to market to. So we can go one of two ways. And the goal of this training is to really show you how you can use our AI scores in conjunction with our lead types to really come down to a balanced, optimized audience. So one way that we can incrementally make this audience smaller is to raise our floor. So I'm going to go up to 600 and see what I get there. So that took me down to 260 properties in the entire county that have a higher than 600 score on propensity to sell at a discount. Let's just say that's a little bit too focused and we want to try to get around that 1,000 number. So I'm going to go to 520 and lower it a little bit. That's 2,400 properties. So we are definitely getting closer. Another way that we can go about filtering this audience to not only refine it for motivation, but to also get it a little bit smaller and manageable for our campaigns is to layer on one of our 18 different lead types. So let's take a look at AI scores above 520 that are current absentee owners. That's 820 properties. So this is an awesome number that I feel comfortable working with, whether I'm going to be doing a direct mail campaign or a text message campaign, or I'm going to be downloading these leads, skip tracing them, and doing a manual outbound cold calling campaign to them as well. So the next thing we want to do is select these leads. This drop down right here allows you to select the full list, 824 people, and that's going to add it to your My Leads right up here in the corner. Once we open that, this is how we can really start to work with the data. If you want to just export the leads and use a direct mail provider of your own, or if you want to skip trace them here within the system and then export it for cold calling, it's as easy as just a couple of clicks. Our download button allows you to pull our standard data, which you can append property details, valuations, active listings, and of course the AI scores. We also have the ability for you to export a custom audience. Now, essentially what we do here is basically just clean up the spreadsheet to remove things like square foot and bed and bath from the details, because Facebook doesn't need that information in order to match to an active profile. So essentially we're just cleaning up the data with our Facebook custom audience export. If you would like to skip trace this data, select skip trace here. It is 10 cents per lead that we're able to append a record. You can do the same thing you would if you were exporting the leads from the download button. You can just append those skip trace numbers and download that CSV. You can also get the CSV for yourself while keeping a copy of the list within your contacts in RealFlow. So last but not least, of course, is direct mail. So we make it super easy, less than 5 clicks, for you to get in and send out a multi-touch campaign. So I'm going to select direct mail and a standard campaign. We're going to remove the duplicates. That way, if somebody owns multiple properties, they're not going to get 5 or 10 different mailers just because they're on all those listings. Now, our system's going to dynamically pull all of those people in. Once we've removed our duplicates, we lost about 120 people. So that's money that we're saving by not sending duplicate mailers. All we need to do is name our campaign, test campaign, and I'd like to get 2 postcards in front of each homeowner. And I want to do it monthly. So they're going to get 1 postcard a month for the next 2 months. And because of that, you can see that dynamically down here, my details are updating based on what I'm selecting. So we had our number of recipients, and I've made sure that we're touching them twice. So that ups the amount of pieces that we're going to be creating. Here's your return address. Once you fill this out, you'll never have to do it again. We will pre-populate it. Your contact info is your marketing info. So if you're not the one answering the phone, it's someone at your office, we want to make sure that we put any relevant information there for people to get in touch with you. You can have yourself sent a copy of the mailer as well, so you can see what's going out to people on your behalf. Here's how easy we make it to select the type of creative that you're going to use. Over 14 years here at RealFlow, we've sent out millions of direct pieces, so we know what works, and we've really streamlined our offering based on what converts the best. So I'm going to go ahead and send out a general mailer. And if you recall, I decided to send 2 mailers, 1 a month for the next 2 months. Here are all the sizes that are available for us, including first-class postage. Here's mailer 1 and mailer 2. I'm going to go ahead and send a simple postcard for the first one, and I really like this yellow Sharpie one. Now, on the second one, I want to make sure I get their attention. So I'm going to go with a more formal letter here, one of our handwritten stationaries. So I like this one. It's got the little houses on the bottom. That's cool. And I'm going to go ahead and select next. On this page, we're simply previewing the front and the back of each of our postcards and looking at the estimated delivery date. This one's going to be put into mailboxes within 5 days of us submitting this order. And the second one follows 1 month behind. On this next page, we're literally just reviewing our information and making sure that everything's accurate. We're seamlessly integrated with our direct mail house, and what that means is that the minute you hit submit order, your data goes directly to our print house. So it's very difficult for us to get that first mailer back because we're already going to production to get it out as fast as we possibly can. If everything's okay, your cost lines up, we'll show you a breakdown of each one of those mailers. You can go ahead and submit your order after accepting the terms of an agreement, and you're off to the races. RealFlow AI was designed to maximize your marketing dollars and allow you to focus on only those properties that have a higher than average propensity to sell. If you're a new investor, our AI data will give you the confidence you're targeting the best leads in your area. And if you're a seasoned investor, you can use AI to streamline your marketing and spend time on what matters, closing more deals. And if you're ready to go, you're just one click away. Thanks for checking out LeadPipes AI.